Hello guys, welcome back to the well, what should we say? This is the beastie room as it is at the moment, and as you will all be aware, this is we are in our transitional stage, and we're making this video from our temporary accommodation. Now, we had to move all of our spiders, and as you well know, Portsmouth tarantulas have took our main collection, so they've got the majority of our spiders. And then we had a few odds and sods that got sent out to another friend of ours who took them on. So he took a couple of the ones that had egg sacs, and also a couple that are a little bit finicky. So we put them over as well because we didn't want them getting moved around in the travelling so much. So they had a shorter journey, if you like. Now, this is one of the ones that we had in there. This was a golden blue leg baboon. And the female that we had in here, she had an egg sac that hatched with our friend Andy. And we left them to hatch in there, which is what we normally do with these guys. We allow them to hatch because these are a spider that create a hammock egg sac, and which means that they don't move them. They build the hammock within the web structure that their home is in, where they make their home, and it doesn't get moved. They literally just protect that hammock from anything that may come into the burrow or whatever. So it doesn't get rotated like an egg sac does. It stays as one piece, which is a really interesting thing, and it also makes us wonder whether maybe these guys have gone through time and they've adapted that their egg sacs don't need to be rotated like many of the other ones do. Many of our other spiders actually create a ball sac and they carry it around and they move it, rotate it, and do all sorts of things with it. These guys don't do any of that. So it hatched out in Andy's care, and we have since removed the female, and we have now brought back the enclosure with the babies in it. And it's now time to catch all of these up and put them into their individual pots, which are going to be these sling pots. As you remember, this is how we house all of our slings. Now, they can stay like this for a number of weeks, and they're perfectly fine. As soon as they start becoming slings and running around, it's now time to catch them up, because they will eventually start to predate on one another, which we don't really want. We want to try and save as many as possible. So we've got all of our stuff here, and as you'll appreciate, this is very different to how we normally do things. We don't normally do it like this. So this is more this is more akin to how many of you budding hobbyists out there will be doing stuff at home. It's only just occurred to me actually that many of you guys will be sat in your living room doing your bits and pieces with all the trials and tribulations that ensues. I mean, normally we have our nice desk, so if we get a runner, it's confined. We don't have to worry about it. Today, we haven't got the luxury of our desk, so we are literally going to be doing it on a table in a living room in our rented accommodation. Hopefully we don't get a runner and it disappears and hides in the sofa, because we'll have to leave him behind, and that could be a little bit funny for the next people that move in. So we are going to be doing it just like you guys at home. It's going to be much fun. Now, we got all our stuff. We got our bag of mulch here. Now this is as we can see in here, this has been collected from the wild. We collect that from the forest, and what we've done is we've got a little bit of it here in a tub ready for camera lady to start catching these guys up, and we'll show you from scratch how she goes about it. So she's going to do the catching, I'm going to do the filming. Let's crack on and see how it all goes. See you in a second. Action, camera lady. So what we're doing now is we are going to prepare all of the sling pots. And using the mulch that we've collected, and you'll see there that we sort of half fill the tubs, and that gives We see camera lady's half filled was 3/4 filled. You can see there that, yeah, she drinks a bit too, guys. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to half fill the tubs. We take all the lids off first, put them all in a pot. So what we're looking for now is we're getting ourselves prepared so that when we actually start to catch the spiders up, all we've got to do is catch them up, pop them in the pots and put the lid on. And we know exactly what we're doing. Now another thing that we do here as well is we have many of these pots. It's not really necessary to have them spotlessly clean. Some of these have had soil in them before, and we just tip the soil out, give them a quick rub, and they're ready to go again. It won't make any difference. Everything that we're using is going to be safe. As you can see down in there in the bag, this is the mulch that we collect. This is all free. You can get all of this from your local woodland. Pick it all up. Perfectly safe. You can see all that leaf litter and stuff in there. It's absolutely gorgeous stuff. Really, really good stuff. And we use this in our main enclosures as well, which we will have plenty of coming up, because once we actually get established again, we have got many rehousings to do. Lots and lots of rehousings. Now, as you're all aware, we're on the move at the moment, and so many of our spiders had been paired up in the old beastie room. So some of those are waiting to actually produce sacs. Others have already produced sacs. So far, touch wood, we haven't lost any sacs as of yet. So all being well, things are looking really good at the moment. As you can see, this enclosure here is all dried out. Now, you may well have remembered that we've done videos on the golden blue-legged baboon. This is the arboreal setup that we've done, and we also done one on a terrestrial setup. Both spiders behaved exactly the same, and it was quite interesting to see how they actually, work out and how they build their inside enclosures, what they do with them. Here we go. These are all the pots that are all ready. We get them all ready, up and done. You'll notice that the actual substrate in there is not bone dry. There is a little bit of dampness to it, so we keep it just very slightly damp for this species. Hardly anything at all. If you put it all in your hand, you don't want it sticking to your hand, but we do want a little bit of colour in it, so a little bit of darkness to it shows that it's got a tiny bit of moisture in there. As you can see there, you see our camera lady is quite an adept hand at this. She's flying through it.
Nearly ready.
And this is something that we need to, when we're doing this kind of work, we need to get ourselves prepared so that we can literally just crack on and get on with it. We don't want to be spending all day trying to catch these little ones up. Now, as you can see here, we look down the side of the enclosure. You can see the webbing in that bottom corner and the webbing all up the back. So that is the entrance to the spider, to the tunnel. And then she had her sac right down in there. And this is probably where some of the babies will be hiding. We don't know how many we got in there yet. Time will tell. So what we're going to do now, we're going to have a little look. We're going to take out some of the stuff from the obvious front stuff. There we go. There's our, oh, hang on a minute, where are we? There's our first volunteer. Look at that. That's a lovely, wow, that's a lovely big healthy spiderling there. Perfect. Oh, there's number one.
Another one.
Here we go.
Get in.
else we got? Now, as you can see, this is literally just a mass of webbing and dry substrate. It doesn't look like there's too many hiding out in that. Oh, there goes one. We'll catch that one up. As you can see now, we put the tub over and just flick them in. That was also quick. So we literally just catch them up and flick them in. Although our slings are delicate, they are quite hardy as well. So it's quite easy to just be able to flick them over straight into their pot. You're not going to cause them any harm.
We'll go through this a little bit better after.
Yeah. So we're just going to have a quick initial look through, see what's what. No, that looks like pretty clear. Let's see what else we got. I'll take out another piece now. You can see there, you had the moss in the bottom of that. That looks like a clear bit. Here comes now. This is the slab of moss that would have originally been in the top. It's been buried. Look, there's a couple. Let's see if we can get a picture of that. There he goes. He's in. Now then, watch how we transfer it from one pot to the other. No, we're going to go skywards.
Oh,
Camera
sorry.
lady's not really thinking about this at all.
I'll do the next one.
I don't know. Right, here we go. We're going to catch it in there. We're going to keep it low down. That's it. And we literally just put it up, flick it in. There you go. And that's in there. If she keeps it still. There we go. Perfect. Let's see what else we got. Now in these larger Braplast containers, we can get 35 sling pots. So it's 35 sling pots inside that tub. So it's a nice easy way of being able to count your slings. Once it's full, we know we've got 35 slings. There's one. Right on the hand. There we go. Perfect. That's 6 little individuals. Now, hopefully you can see as we're going through this that it's not actually as bad as you first think. Catching up all these babies out of an enclosure doesn't have to be too terrible. We can flick through it pretty quickly. Right, so now we're going to break into the main piece of webbing, the entrance to the tunnel. I don't expect there to be too much in this piece because this is really just the tunnel entrance. So we might get the odd one or two hiding away in there. There we go, there's one. Now we can also see here, actually, when we get a nice big one, we'll try and get a close-up of it on the substrate. And you'll see that these guys are actually starting to show a little bit of colour already. Which is really cool because they are such a pretty spider.
Again, we'll have to go through this a bit more.
Yeah, we can do a final, we always do a final check on the substrate. We'll go through it, make sure there's no missing in action. As you can see, if you look at where the webbing is, you can normally reckon there's nothing there. Right, let's see if we can't have a little look at this fella. We can get it to focus. There we go. And you can see there's a little bit of colour to the legs already. You see it's got that lovely bit of golden colour to it. Absolutely stunning little spiders. Right, let's see you get that one in a pot. There we go. Nice and easy. Very professional, my dear.
No drama.
No drama. Right.
Oh, there's another one. Don't there's a bit more.
Oh, look at that one. That's a nice one. Look at that. Nice, healthy slings. Now these guys, oh, it's just disappeared. These guys will
I'll find you some more.
Will all be available at the Bristol show. We're going to be ready for the Bristol show. So anyone that's looking for golden blue leg baboons, we have some absolute beauties here. We do have some that are slightly older as well. So they're slightly bigger.
Hey, this one. He's got a real nice colour, this one, Dave.
Oh, look at that. All right, let's look at that. That, keep it still, that is absolutely beautiful.
He's hiding.
Yeah, very, very cool.
Another one there.
Very nice.
There you go, buddy.
Yeah, that's a nice big one, that one. I wonder if that one has maybe eaten one of its siblings.
Or two.
Yeah.
Its legs in.
So there's actually a few more in this piece of material than we was first expecting. Another one there. Now, one of the things that often crops up with the slings and things, you imagine now on a spider of this species, the golden blue leg baboon, we are looking at anywhere from 100 to maybe 200 slings within a sac. That wouldn't be an unusual sac. Now, there's going to be natural losses, and quite often, you know, you hear people online that, oh, my slings died, what did I do wrong? You know, all these sorts of things. Sometimes it is just nature. It is just that sling was never destined to actually make it. And this is one of the reasons why spiders have so many babies, and many arachnids. They all have such large clutches of youngsters. And this is because predation, natural selection, and just the general thing of actually keeping them going. You know, there is a very high mortality rate. Now, in captivity, we can bring that down to a minimum, and we can do an awful lot better. There we go.
It's exciting, that one.
He's on the roof. I've got to get up because that kneeling down there is killing me. So yes, so we end up with, we have an awful lot of natural selection. So sometimes, you know, slings are just not destined to survive. No matter what we do, not every single one will make it through. Now we can keep the numbers to a minimum, the losses to a minimum. So a little look in here. See what we got going on. You see now we're down to the actual solid stuff. I reckon if we pull that piece of wood out,
we will just got to get this
we will,
cleared here.
we will be close to finding out where the bulk of them are. So yeah, so I guess what I'm saying is when you've got, you know, your slings, we all go to the shows, we pick up our slings. Don't be too phased if you lose the odd one here and there, because sometimes it is just the nature of things. You know, slings can look perfectly happy 1 minute and can pass over the next. So it's not always about something that you've done personally. It might not just be down to the way you're keeping them. It could just be natural selection.
That one for ages. I'm gonna have to get him.
Yeah, we've got one on the side of the glass here.
Particularly good left-handed either. That's it, come on.
Oh, we're in lots of excuses here, guys. Lots of excuses. All I can say is I hope she ups her game by the time we move. Right, let's have a look at the wood. We all like a bit of wood.
David.
Right, here we go. Here it comes. Now then. Now this is where it all goes a little Pete tong and we end up running all over the floor.
This side, so
just dump all of that in there.
See one just on, there we go. See how they're jumping out there? That's what we're going to have to go through the substrate again.
There's one on your hand.
Yep.
Do you want to catch?
I'm getting my catch cup.
I don't think she saw that one, guys. That one surprised her. She was looking at a different one then. Did you see that? You didn't even see that one creep out there. Here she goes. Right. Now you can go for the one you were originally looking at, I reckon. On there.
There are some in here. I think kind of took a dive into me. There's one. See?
You can see how they're a little bit harder to catch them up on the bark. But it's not the end of the world. We actually hatch out quite a few of our spiders. We hatch out in the enclosures with mum. And we do this for different reasons. So the basic reason is it can, in sometimes, depending on how busy we are, it can save us quite a bit of time if we let mum do the majority of the work. And then all we do then is, if you're going to hatch them out inside your enclosure, the easiest way to go about it is to remove mum first. Get her out of the way. You don't really want an angry spider in the bottom trying to protect her babies. So we can literally just remove her, get her out of the way, and then we can concentrate on all the little ones. Right, what we got going on in here? I think down in the bottom left-hand corner is where they're all going to be.
I can see them.
Down in here. Down in the right, look at that. Let's see what we got. There's a few. Oh, look at them. Oh, a bit out of focus there. Look at them. Really good sized spiderlings. Absolutely lovely. Very cool. Now these, ideally, looking at them, they could probably have been taken out a little bit earlier. Oh my God, what are we doing? We have got a tub full of spiderlings. Now this is going to, let's have a look in that tub. Right. Where are we? Here we go. Here they all are. Now, camera lady in her wisdom has put four spiderlings in the pot. Now, somehow or other, we're going to get one at a time out into Or other pot. You see now she's wishing she'd only got one at a time. Oh, there's one. There's one. Oh, she's looking rather smug, guys.
It don't normally work if it's on the camera, but
Go on then, let's see how you get on. Here comes another one. Oh, she's excelling herself today. Still two in the pot. Still time to go wrong, guys.
Coming all by himself.
Oh, look at that. He ran in on his own. How lucky was that? Oh, my.
They know you're trying to show me up, so they're going, no, we'll help you out, camera lady. Just make sure, get your legs in.
That's it. All that gratitude, and she chopped his legs off. No, she didn't.
Look, he's like,
oh, what are we doing now? That's it. He's back in.
His legs are more important than me showing off in front of the camera.
Yeah. One down. Here we go. Oh, yeah, that one unceremoniously flicked into the pot. Well done, camera lady. That was rather impressive. Right then, what we got left? I think this.
Okay, so what I'll probably do is see if we can't.
There's loads.
Catch just a few out, otherwise these guys will be watching us forever.
Yeah, time to speed up a bit.
It's not going to be quick doing it like that. Okay.
Now, fast is the opposite from slow, my love.
Look at this.
Yeah. Oh, look, you just found another one.
Tucked himself in that leg.
Yeah, look at that. There we go. He's in. He's in. Perfect.
And this is got lots in here still. Come this way. No.
Perfect. What we got going on now? We've gone for the lump.
Yeah, because I think
there was one right on top of that there, wasn't it?
Not that I saw, but it doesn't mean there isn't. Pop that in there. It's actually easier to put the substrate in this and then sift through it than trying to get them in there.
See, it's interesting now, guys. You see, this is different methods. I personally would be catching them up out of the enclosure. Camera lady likes to move them all. Yeah, she's only got short arms. You wouldn't think 30 centimetres would cause so much trouble, would you? Here we go. Here we go. So what we've got to do is when you're doing this sort of thing, is just work in the way that you're comfortable. You can take your time, look. Oh, she's going for the bumper lot now. See, we had a little bit of success.
Yeah, now I'm pushing my luck.
Now we're getting fancy. As you can see, there's quite a lot. Look how well camouflaged that one is. Right by the finger there. Hardly even saw it. He's like, no, I'm not ready to leave. That's it, he's in. Oh, I think we must have half a dozen in there now. And there's more. Now, another thing that's very, very interesting here, you'll notice that with these slings, we're moving them around with our fingers. And this is because even though these are a baboon spider, they are not going to cause you any trouble at this stage. Now, we often see quite amusing videos on Facebook and on YouTube of people getting their slings come through the post, and they're no bigger than these little ones here, and you see all sorts of contraptions coming out trying to get them out of the bit of tissue that they were sent in and things like this, and there really is no need to worry. Let's have a little look in that pot. Keep it there, keep it there.
Hang on, let me just get this one because he's come out.
Look at them all in that pot.
Put him back in.
Keep it up. We're trying to look in the top, my love.
Oh, right, there you go.
Right. Try and get a bit of focus here because completely threw that out. Right, here we go. Look at all of them. Lots and lots and lots in there. That is absolutely packed full of them. This should be interesting. Let's see how this goes. So yes, you'll see there that camera lady is just using her fingers to actually move these guys around. We're using the tweezers now because she's got so many of them in the pot. But you'll notice we're not worried about being bitten. We're not worried about being bitten because these guys they're so small, they're not likely to break your skin. So there's absolutely no need to worry. So it doesn't matter really what sort of spider you're dealing with. At this age, they really are not going to cause you any trouble whatsoever. So you can sit back, you can relax, you can let this little guy run all up and down your arm if you like. It's not going to make any difference. Once he gets up to about 1/2 inch, he's then got the capability of being able to break the skin of a human hand. If you're a guy, your skin is probably a little thicker and harder than a lady's hands, and you may still get away with it. But from about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, you need to start thinking a little bit more carefully because they are capable of delivering a bite at that age. And it could still be quite painful. One of the things that's also interesting as well is with most venomous things, the venom from a baby is just as toxic as that from an adult. So if you've got something like a HMAC, a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch HMAC will deliver the same amount of pain through its venom as an adult would. The only difference being an adult will have a fang the size of your sling to stick into your hand. And this is why we don't handle spiders. It's not worth the risk. We often hear you know, people sort of say, oh, my spider recognises me and, you know, it knows it's me and all this sort of stuff. At the end of the day, it is still a wild creature and it's still very, very capable of biting you. So why take the chance? Well, I am super impressed. We've managed to take out, what was there, must have been 8 spiders in there?
I honestly don't know.
No, we don't. We're counting and working. Right. Is this the last one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look, he gets the special treatment. Yeah. Right. Well, I think that's about, we've almost done a tray now.
Yeah, and we know there's plenty more as well, so it's like kind of got the idea.
Yep, there's plenty more in there. We've still got them running around. Now we're going to have to sift through all of this substrate and see who's left. There will be a few.
There's definitely going to be.
Another interesting thing as well is we will go all through the substrate that camera lady pulled out, because there will be the odd one here and there. And also as well, we got that piece of bark there. Now on that bark you'll see there's holes and grooves and all sorts. There will be spiderlings tucked away in there. And sometimes these can take a little while to actually extract. So quite often what we'll do is we'll put the enclosure back up on the shelf, put the wood back in there, and just give them a little bit of time, and they will venture out eventually. And we can slowly pick them up over the course of a week if needs be. All depends. Cork bark is a little bit of a pain when we allow our slings to hatch within the enclosure. If we use our natural UK bark, we don't suffer the same problems because there's not the grooves and the holes and bits and pieces inside the bark for the spiderlings to hide in. Oh, we've caught another couple here.
Well, it's just a pain. I find it harder in here because they've got the web. They tend to want to stay on it. Whereas when you remove it, I can sort of put them into the tub a little bit easier.
There we go.
And you get all the rubbish from inside.
Oh yeah. We didn't see it like that because it was all out of focus.
Yeah.
There we go, he's in. Right then. I think we can call it a day there.
Yeah.
And we will see how we get on. We will give you a total number once we've actually finally caught the whole lot. I think Cameron Lady needs a break and a cup of tea. So
Once I've finished the slings.
once she's finished, we will say goodbye from her. And just one moment. Well, that was pretty epic. Yeah, it takes a good time to actually catch them up, but it's time really, really well spent. Now, out of that little clutch there, we got 74 healthy, viable slings. So that's not a bad sack. Now, these guys, we have had these up to nearly 200 in a sack before now, which I think is quite an epic sack. That's pretty big. Generally, we're around about the 100 mark, somewhere around there. So, yeah, 74, not a bad haul at all, really. Now, in terms of breeding these guys, they're not actually too terrible. They're one of the easier ones. Many of the baboons are very, very simple to breed. They don't take too much in the way of conditioning or anything like that. So if you want to try your hand at breeding, these aren't a bad thing to have a go at. Same with the OBT, things like that. As long as you're comfortable handling that particular type of spider, breeding wise, they're pretty good. Now then, we will start all over again now. We often get asked, what happens with our females? What do we do? Well, normally what we will do now is our female, she's already housed in another enclosure. We've made one up, set her up and everything else. She's back at our friend Andy. She's at his place. So she's in a brand new enclosure already. And what we will do now is we will feed her up and start to get her back to where she was. She didn't really lose a lot of condition, to be fair. She was pretty good. And much of this is due to the fact that we actually keep our spiders in real good condition throughout the breeding process. So we get them right up to maximum viability, maximum weight before we pair them. This in turn then means that once we've paired them, we can carry on feeding them, and then as they go down and they produce a sac, it doesn't deplete them completely. So they've got good body reserves. They're in tip-top condition to actually reproduce, because making that sac obviously takes quite a bit out of them, and it's using all of their internal goodness and everything else, all of their strength, their well-being to actually produce that sac. So if we get them in tip-top condition to start with, they're absolutely on the right track to carry on. And then it also means that they can sit there for a month, 6 weeks, 2 months sometimes if we let them hatch with the babies, with the mum. If we let the sac hatch with the mum, they can be 2 months in there where they haven't really had a lot. Now, we have experimented on different ones where we feed throughout the time they have the sac, and some of them take to this and others don't. So it's very much a bit of a suck it and see, and we'll see our individual spiders and how they behave. This particular one, she would come out and feed, so we can maintain her body all the way through and keep her going. So now what we'll do is she's already rehoused. We'll keep her fed up, and then we're now going to rest her up and look for a molt. We're going to wait for her to molt out. Now sometimes we will get a molt, we will give them 12 weeks or so, feed them up again, and then we may pair them again, because in the wild they would be pairing quite consistently, if you like. Others, depending on what sort of spider they are and what condition they're in, we might leave them for a season. So we'll keep feed them and get another molt out of them before we pair them again. All depends on the individual spider. So there is no clear-cut rule. We just need to look at our spider, take our spider as an individual, and we do all of our work from the information that we gain from that individual spider. That's the way we like to do it. And that appears to work really well. Right, so 74 spiderlings, that's really cool. These guys will be available now. So if you're interested, hit us up with a message. We will also be at Bristol Show this coming Sunday. So even if you don't want a spider, come and say hello. We'd love to see you all. It should be a really cool day. Bristol Show is one of the best shows of the year. And I do believe it's actually one of the busiest of the season. It has, in effect, been beating the BTS. So there's been bigger numbers than the BTS has been getting. So it's a really big show, a very popular show. So don't forget, come over and see us. We'll have a stand there. All right then. Don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And I will see you soon, guys.